Hi guys, it's ChazzaHD and welcome today to the post-2018 Singapore Grand Prix live Q&A here on this Monday evening. And guys, how are we doing to people watching after this has gone up as a recorded stream or people watching live? How are we doing after yesterday's Grand Prix, which was, the more I think about it, it was a very boring race. I think I said that plenty of times in my race review. By the way, my race review was uploaded about an hour ago, so if you have not seen it, go and check it out. It's in the description down below. Yeah, yesterday's Singapore Grand Prix was quite bad, I think. The more I watch highlights of it, it just seems as though nothing really happened other than the Sergei Sorokin, Perez, Grosjean stuff. Other than that, there was nothing really in the race, but, you know, we expect this at, at Singapore. Singapore is not a good overtaking track. Let's see what some of you guys are saying in the chat as we get this Q&A underway. Nathan, good content, so of course I show up. Thanks for showing up and thanks for liking the content on the channel. Right, so here we are for the Q&A, so get firing away, guys. For the 14 people watching live right now, get firing away with your questions. And also, if you're watching this after this was live, put comments in the comments section because I will try to answer those after this stream. So don't worry if you miss out on the stream. I will still try and answer your questions if you put it in the comments section down below. But before I think we properly get into this Q&A, let me just plug some of my stuff. Again, subscribe if you are new to the channel, either on the bottom right of the screen, click on my channel name, or click on the link in the description that goes to my channel page. Watch my latest video, the Singapore Grand Prix race review, like I just said. Like this video, comment down below as well. Don't forget to join my Discord server. There's a link below down in the description. We have about 65 people right now. It's a growing community. It's not growing, you know, amazingly fast, but it's definitely growing. So go join the community over there. And as well, follow me on Twitter for more updates about when I'm uploading. For example, if you were following me on Twitter today, you would have seen me tweet a couple times saying when videos or live streams were coming out today. And check out my website, ChazzaHD.com, link in the description to keep up to date with my channel. Right, the first question I believe is from Nathan. Do you think Red Bull will go backwards next year due to less aero and arguably a worse engine? I think with less, say the car's being less aero reliant, that might affect them, but I still think they'll have very good aerodynamics and will be probably, even if they get it wrong, at least the second best chassis, even if they get it wrong. But if they get it right like they normally do, then they will still have the best chassis. And then it's down, of course, to Honda, who right now, yes, you could argue that they have the worst engine, but just look at what happened at Spa and at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. Honda looked very, very good. So I'm not sure I'd say Renault are better than Honda. I think Honda are really making a lot of progress right now. And I'd say it's about equal. I think it's about equal. Definitely when it comes to qualifying, I think once they're both turned up to the maximum, I think it's definitely equal between those two power units. Ben McCarthy, this is an interesting question. Do you think the F1 broadcasting cameras are out of sync? You see the onboard and then you see trackside, which is about a second ahead. Yeah, they're not in sync. The onboard is delayed from the say the trackside cameras by about 2 or 3 seconds, I think. I think that's the most it's delayed by. But yeah, there is a delay. I have noticed that when watching F1 races, there is definitely a delay between onboard and trackside cameras. Hello to Ronan Brady and SpiderMonkey who've just joined the chat. Don't forget to ask some questions, guys. Simon Crackland, do you think Vettel will ever win a World Drivers' Championship again? That is a good question. If the Ferrari car becomes dominant enough in terms of its pace gap, to say Mercedes, if it becomes, say, half a second faster than Mercedes, if they're second fastest, then I think he will. I think he will, because when Vettel has a dominant car or a car that is absolutely suited to what he wants, he is very good. But in this current situation, where even though the Ferrari is faster, it's still very close between Ferrari and Mercedes, meaning that Vettel still gets exposed. But if Ferrari do not build a dominant car, then I would have to say no. I'd have to say no. But of course, we'll see in 2019 what Ferrari can come up with. According to sources, Honda could be good next year. That's from Ronan Brady. Mercedes. Oh no, Martin Brundle. I thought you said Mercedes-Benz then. Martin Brundle said in commentary yesterday, I hope so. I really hope so. They have clearly made progress this year. You cannot doubt that. And you know what? I think next year they will improve. And I think Red Bull, if you compare them right now to the front of the field, which is Ferrari and Mercedes, I think Red Bull will be closer next year with a Honda power unit. I really do, because I think Honda finally know what they're doing and are working with someone, by the way, who actually is willing to work with them and communicate properly, not like McLaren. So I think next year Red Bull, I don't think they'll be going for the world title, but I definitely think they will be closer in some sort of way to Mercedes and Ferrari. Who is Ferrari's strategist? They have made strategy mistakes in the last 8 years, I reckon. That's from Simon Cragland. The strategist before, say, 2015, 2016 was a different one to what it is right now. The current strategist, I can't remember his name. He doesn't get publicised really at all. But I think he started working at Ferrari in late 2015 or early 2016. And of course made 2 mistakes in 2016, Australia and Canada. And this year has made so many mistakes. I don't know who he is or who she is. I can't remember if it's a man or a woman, but that person, they have to go. They have to be sacked. I'm sorry. I don't like advocating for this sort of thing, but if you keep making these, you know, such costly errors, you don't deserve to keep your position. Nobody does if you keep making the same mistakes all over again. Let me just go up to see some other questions. SpiderMonkey, do you think McLaren can still hold the position from Force India? I don't think they will. I think Force India will catch them. I think Force India clearly are faster than McLaren. Definitely for the final 6 races, I think Force India will be faster, because the circuits coming up suit the Force India more than they do the McLaren. So yes, even though McLaren are now 26 points ahead, I'm going for Force India in P6. I don't know when they will overtake McLaren. Probably Brazil, maybe. But I think they will catch McLaren. Simon Cragland, I think Ferrari lacks some kind of a winning mentality like they had with Schumacher back in the good days. I assume you're trying to say at the end there. Yes, they do, but I think there's 2 reasons for that. One is they don't... Actually, no, 3 reasons. One, they don't have enough strong-minded people at the team. 2, I think when it comes to the top end of the field, I think a lot of those mechanics and people working on the pit wall are quite inexperienced, say, compared to Mercedes. I mean, you do have Jock Clear on the Ferrari pit wall, who's very experienced, but Mercedes, I think, have more experience than the Ferrari pit wall. And I think Ferrari just lack that, you know, that character that you need to win titles like Mercedes have, like Red Bull had when they were winning, like Ferrari had in the mid-2000s with, you know, Jean Todt, Ross Brawn, Rory Byrne, Michael Schumacher. They don't have the character that is needed to win a title. They don't have it. And until they get it, then, yeah, they're not going to win a title, in my opinion. As I was going to say Aston then. Anton M. Has Vettel regressed as a driver since his Red Bull days? I don't think he's got worse. I just think that what we are seeing now confirms our suspicions or criticisms of him at Red Bull when, you know, we were saying, or everyone was saying, you know, oh, he's only winning because he's in a great car and that he can't necessarily race as well as Hamilton and Alonso. And that has been proven in 2017 and this year. I think that's what's happened. I don't think Vettel's got worse as a driver. I just think his deficiencies that we were questioning about, say, in 2013 have come true. Now he's in an equal, more or less, car to Lewis Hamilton. Ben McCarthy, do you have F1 memorabilia collections? I don't, but hopefully if I go to some more races, I will try and pick up some stuff. Ben McCarthy also asks, 3 best F1 seasons in your opinion. The best one, of course, is 2012, which I'm currently doing a series on, and I will announce the next part of the classic F1 seasons 2012 series at the end of this stream. After that, I don't know what to say. There's plenty of great seasons. Second, I'd go 1997. I think that's a very underrated season. I think people might be very shocked about that. And then I'm going to go 2008 for third. So, yeah, those are 3 I am going with. Simon Craglan, Mark Webber touched on yesterday that he feels like Lewis is even more motivated now than he was when he was driving against Rosberg. And he feels like that's the reason he's driving better now. I think the reason he's more motivated is because now Vettel finally in 2017 got into a car that was, again, more or less equal. He was keen to prove what he thinks is that he is better than Sebastian Vettel, and I think that as well. He was very motivated to prove that, not just this year, but last year, and I'm sure he'll be motivated to prove that in 2019 and 2020. So that's, well, that's the motivation I think he is getting, trying to prove a point to some people. Ronan Brady, do you think Hamilton is really so good as some people say, like Senna? My reason for not thinking this is because he got beat by Rosberg and Jenson Button. I don't think he's on the level of Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher or Fangio yet. I think he does have some years to go to get to that level. And if he, you know, does more drives like he did in Singapore, it could happen. Yeah, that year in 2011, that was a disappointing season, and he was fairly beaten by Jenson that season. Jenson was better, and I think 2011 was the turning point in his career, because in that season, similar to how Max Verstappen would make mistakes at the start of this season, Lewis kept having crashes, was not learning during the season, and eventually just had a poor season. But then for 2012, he was a changed driver. He was not necessarily more cautious, but more measured. And ever since the start of 2012, he's a different driver to what he was pre-2011, where he was a lot more aggressive and a lot more like what Max Verstappen is right now. So, yeah, 2011 was a very important year, I think, in Lewis Hamilton's career. Yes, Rosberg did, of course, officially beat him in 2016, and I don't really rate that as I don't really rate that against Lewis, because in my opinion Lewis Hamilton deserved that title more than Rosberg, because Hamilton has so many reliability issues that season. That's not to say Rosberg was bad. Rosberg was very good and it was a close battle, but Hamilton I thought was more deserving of the championship in 2016. SpiderMonkey, I think Renault is terrible at the reliability. That's clear to see. I don't think they're going to fix that until maybe the next change with the power units. Force India is the 4th quickest team right now. That's from Simon Cragland. Yeah, probably. They probably are. And I think for Russia, they should be at least 7th and 9th with both cars, unless, I don't know, something doesn't go to plan for them. Let me look through some more questions. Why did they get rid of Dave Greenwood as Kimi's engineer? He seemed to work well with him. That's from Ronan Brady. I don't actually know why. Actually, yes, I remember why. It's because Dave Greenwood went off to WEC to... I don't know what his role is. Basically, Manor have gone to WEC. I don't think it's the same team that was in F1, but the same name, I guess. Yeah, he went to WEC to work for them, I think. But if someone can correct me on that, then go ahead and do so. But I think that's the reason he is not Kimi's engineer. Simon Cracklin, do you think Haas will finish ahead of Renault? I'm starting to doubt. I still believe that Haas will finish ahead of Renault because if you look at the last 6 races, they suit the Haas more than the Renault, no doubt. Especially Brazil, that's a power circuit. Suzuka basically is a power circuit now. If you forget the first sector, the second and third sector is kind of like Monza. It's just a power circuit, so I think they'll be very good there. Home Grand Prix, I think they'll be good. Yeah, I still think Haas will beat Renault, but it will be close because Renault will give it one hell of a go to keep on to 4th place. Ronan Brady, would you have put Perez in the McLaren next year, or would that have been a regression for him? That would have been a regression. McLaren are not ready to make that serious progress that they need to, so there's no point going from Force India, who are better and have had the better car since 2014. There's no point leaving Force India for McLaren when Force India have had a better car for the last 5 seasons. He also asks, Ferrari are inexperienced because Marchioni promoted Italians in the team. I'm just going to leave it at that. Warwick Bull, should Ferrari fans give up hope for this season? If you're a Ferrari fan, don't give up hope, because all it takes is for the Russian Grand Prix, if Hamilton retires and Vettel wins that race, the gap is 15 points. And then it is right back on, because we know the Ferrari car, in normal conditions, without mistakes, is the best car. So that's all it takes. One retirement for Hamilton and a win in the same race for Vettel, and it is right back on. But I would say, and I said this in my race review, by the way, go and check that out, that Vettel at best has a 25% chance of winning the championship. So he needs to win every race from now until the end of the season, in my opinion. Just looking, Ronan Brady, I think he was distracted then, though, by troubles in personal life back then. I'm not sure what you're referencing. SpiderMonkey, if Russell won the F2 championship, he has to get a seat in F1, but there is an empty seat at McLaren. But both Ocon and Russell are Mercedes drivers, so who is going to McLaren? It's already been announced who is driving for McLaren in 2019. This was announced a fortnight ago. It's going to be Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris at McLaren for 2019. So the only open seats left are Force India, both seats. One of the Williams seats, I think Sorokin will keep his seat. Even though Haas have not confirmed their drivers, I think it's going to be Magnussen and Grosjean. Toro Rosso haven't confirmed who's going to be driving in their car for next year. It could be 2 new drivers. Sauber haven't officially confirmed who Kimi's teammate's going to be, so we'll see on that. And who's the other team that I'm forgetting about? I can't remember, but yeah, that's what's happened. Ben McCarthy, when was the last time you missed an F1 race? The last time was, well, the one before my first ever F1 race that I watched. I've watched every race since the 2011 Japanese Grand Prix, which was the race where Vettel won his second world title. Shalang or Shalung? Is it Shalang? What should Ferrari do now? When it comes to the rest of 2018, they just need to win every race and do everything they can. When it comes to personnel, they need to fire their strategist and continue to improve the car and try and pull out a further gap over Mercedes with the new 2019 regulations. And if they do that, then even if they make mistakes, they will definitely have a better chance of winning the title. Just looking at some more questions in the chat. If you've just joined, keep putting questions in. Daniel Dimov, what do you expect from McLaren and Williams for the rest of the season and for next year? For the rest of the season, I don't expect anything from both teams. Maybe Williams could cause could get a shock, say, point at the Brazilian Grand Prix because it is a power circuit. But realistically, I think McLaren and Williams aren't really going to do anything between now and the end of the season. I don't see them doing anything. They have a very slow car. But for next year, if you want me to give an early prediction, I think McLaren will be about the same next year. I don't think they're going to be massively better. Even if they're better, I think it will be slightly. I still think they'll be 7th or 8th fastest because nothing from what I've seen has gigantically changed at the team in the last couple of months. Obviously, Eric Boulier has left the team, but he's not the person, designing the car. They've brought in Pat Fry, but will he have an effect on the 2019 car? Probably not full effect, but yeah, I don't see McLaren getting any, I don't see them getting massively better in 2019. Williams, I think, will be right where they are now for next year because Martini are leaving. They're going to lose that cash, and because Lawrence Stroll has already left the team with his cash, and once his son leaves the team, that's more money gone, meaning they can't develop the car, so they will be at the back again. Nathan, have you ever gone to Goodwood Festival of Speed? It's the best place in the world in my opinion. I've been there for the past 2 years. I've never been there, but I think I should go in the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 years or so. It is a good event, I know that for sure. Simon Cragland, Daniel Ricciardo has not been that great since Monaco. He has had a lot of bad luck. We have to remember that. Like, for example, Canada and France, I thought he was good. Austria, he wasn't good and had the engine failure, but he wasn't going to go anywhere with the pace he had anyway. Hockenheim, he had to start to the back and then had a failure in the race. Hungary, he got very unlucky in the wet qualifying. I think he would have been up there competing for a podium had he qualified in a normal position. Spa, he started, quite low down, I think. And then had, obviously, the contact with, I think, was it Leclerc or Ericsson at the start, which broke off his rear wing. That destroyed his race there. Started at the back for the Italian Grand Prix, then retired. You got to remember this. He's had a lot of reliability issues. A lot of them. When he hasn't had reliability issues, yes, he hasn't been as good as he was in the first 6 or 7 races, but not massively worse. Ronan Brady, I think, they're inexperienced because they promoted young Italians, not for other reasons. Yeah, well, that makes total sense if they're inexperienced, if that's what they're doing. Makes total sense. Mr. Hull, who will win the Class B championship? I think that's what you're trying to say. In the constructors, I think it will be Haas, but in the drivers, I am going to go for Nico Hülkenberg to finish P7 in the drivers. That's what I'm going with for that. Do you think Verline will get Toro Rosso's seat? That's a Ronan Brady. If Toro Rosso have the opportunity to get him, they should get him as soon as possible. He is very deserving of being on the grid. Just trying to look some other questions. Hello to JB, who's come back to the chat. Ronan Brady, if you could pick an F1 pit wall position, what would it be? It would be the strategist. I take a very good interest in race strategy. I really do like that side of F1. So, yeah, I really find that side of F1 interesting. Just looking for some more questions. Very good questions tonight, so thank you guys for putting in the chat your questions for me. Ben McCarthy, do you have issues on F1 2018 multiplayer? I haven't been able to get on there for a week at least. Everyone is. F1 2018 multiplayer or online is so crap. So crap. As ever, Codemasters have got it wrong once again. And yes, the career mode is great, but if you totally just forget about the online, then you're going to make the F1 game a totally horrible experience. That's exactly what that game is for me when it comes to online racing. A horrible experience. And the career mode, look, it's great, but it's not, you know, it's not going to change the world. Definitely not change the world of gaming. Simon Cragland, are you looking forward to this season? Is over. I mean, personally, I can't see Ferrari and Vettel coming back. My hope is still that they will go down to the final race. I really like final race title deciders, but unless Hamilton retires from a race and Vettel wins that race, I don't see it going down to the final race. What's your favourite F1 track to drive around in the F1 game? That's from JB. France. I really like that track on the F1 game. That is a brilliant track. Warwick Bull, when Lance Stroll goes to Force India, and if he still doesn't deliver, will it prove that he really does not deserve to be in F1? I don't think he will deliver. I don't think he will. I'm going to give him a chance, of course, but I don't think he will. And I don't think he deserves to be in F1 in the first place. I've never rated the guy. He has had good races. He has. There has been some good performances, excluding Baku 2017. I know he finished third, but, you know, he needed half the field to either hit the wall or retire for that to happen. So, I'm not going to call that a good drive. I think his drive in Monza this year and his drive in qualifying and the race in Monza in 2017 was a lot better than what he did in Baku in 2017. But most of the time, I just don't see that F1 quality with him. I don't see it. Just looking at more chat. Chat questions. SpiderMonkey Chazza, I think you should start vlogging if you get the chance to go to some race events. You might be just giving a slight hint to the future on this channel for 2019. I'll get onto that once we get to the end of 2018. Wink, wink. Simon Cragland, I really don't hope Buemi joins Toro Rosso. I don't rate him. I don't rate Buemi massively, but I do rate him more than Brendan Hartley. I think Buemi was unfairly dropped from Toro Rosso. I didn't think he was that bad, but I can see your point. Do you think Williams should have taken Honda partnership when McLaren left? It would have gave them manufacturer status. That's from Nathan. If Honda go on to improve massively, then in hindsight, yes. But right now, it would make their car even worse because they have the second best engine and they are miles at the back. Miles away from everyone else. So if they had Honda, they would be like Manor were in 2015. So I don't think right now it is wise to do so. Maybe if Honda start doing well with Red Bull, maybe you can try and negotiate a customer deal for like 2021 or something. I don't know. Ronan Brady, mine would be that position too. You could replace Roy as the Ferrari strategist. Okay. Do you think Sorokin deserves an F1 seat? I think he does. That's from JB. Even though Sorokin has actually quite impressed me, I still don't think he deserves a seat. I think there's better drivers. George Russell, Pascal Wehrlein, Danny Kvyat. That's 3 drivers right there who I think are better. You know, F1 is supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsport. So, yeah, it shouldn't be open to, no disrespect, drivers like Sorokin who are lower quality than Verline, Russell and Kvyat. Do you think Ferrari can win the title? That's from Jonathan. They have a small chance, but mostly, no, I don't think they can. I think it's mostly over for them. Simon Cragland, who do you hope will be driving for Toro Rosso next year? Kvyat and Verline. That would be my absolute dream, because if anyone was following my old channel in 2017, you will know how much I was bigging up and supporting those two drivers. So that would be a dream for me, honestly. I would absolutely love that. Honda is better than Renault in my opinion. Also from Simon Cragland. Maybe. SpiderMonkey says he's going to join the Discord server. Thank you for doing so. It's in the link down below at the bottom of my description. So go ahead and do so if you want to. Ronan Brady, Jeb is surely better than Kvyat. I don't think he is. I think Jeb is good and also is another driver that should be in F1, but I do rate Kvyat. I do rate Kvyat a lot. Leclerc to beat Ferrari next year. That's from John. I see it. I really see it because of what Ricciardo did to Vettel in 2014 and with the way Vettel has been in the last few months. I wouldn't be surprised if Charles Leclerc went and beat him. I wouldn't be surprised. Right, guys, for the last, I would say 5 minutes, because we're about 5 minutes away from ending this stream, put in your best questions for the last 5 minutes, and I will try to get through as many as I can. If I don't, then sorry. Try and put it in the comments after this has gone up as a, you know, as a recorded stream or whatever. Put it in the comments and I'll try and answer it there. But yeah, next 5 minutes, put in your best questions that you can. Just look, 22 points to 8 in 2014, Vern versus Kvyat. Yes, that is true, but Kvyat, I remember, did have a couple of reliability issues. He was, I think, was he P6 in Monaco in 2014? Yeah, he was P6 or P7 and his engine blew up. I think he was in the points in Austria as well and his engine blew up. So, yeah. And, you know, Kvyat's a lot younger. Trying to get my words out there. Kvyat is quite a bit younger than Vern and didn't have the experience that Vern had in 2014. So I think Kvyat, for me, as a driver, is better. But it's still close. Still close. Francisco, are you worried that Leclerc move to Ferrari was too early in his career? We don't know. We'll have to see in 2019. I hope not. I hope not. I hope he goes for the title next year. I think that's what he's been brought in to do. Simon Cragland, top 5 best quali drivers on the current grid. I would go Hamilton, Verstappen, Alonso. Even though Alonso's qualifying is not his strongest part of his game, I think his qualifying is still good. And you know, another driver is who is it? Hulkenberg. He's a very good qualifying driver. He gets overlooked when it comes to that. And I think Grosjean as well. I'm not saying they're the top 5 qualifiers necessarily because, well, Vettel. Yeah, I'd probably put Vettel in the top 5. So, okay, remove Hulkenberg and Grosjean for the minute. So, Hamilton, Verstappen, Alonso, Vettel, and then Ricciardo. But I do want to give a shout out to Hulkenberg and Grosjean because I think those two are very quick when it comes to qualifying. Thanks for Ronan Brady for coming to the stream and watching. Right, a couple more minutes, guys, and then I'll come off, so try and put your questions in. Simon Cragland says, do you think Lewis Hamilton is all-time top 3? No, I don't. I think right now, you know, he's a 4-time champion right now, so right now I would put him 6th in my all-time drivers list. But if he wins the title, which he probably will, this year, then I would put him 4th, behind Fangio in 3rd, Michael Schumacher 2nd, and Ayrton Senna in 1st. So, yeah, if he wins this year, then I'd definitely put him in the top 4. But right now, so far as a 4-time champion, he's not in my top 5. And Ocon will finish best of the rest. I think someone's asking about... let me see. I predict Force India will theoretically finish best of the rest if we don't subtract their initial points, and Ocon will finish best of the rest. I don't know. It's difficult to say. Leclerc or Max, who wins their title first? Leclerc. Oh, hold on, I'm not going to say that yet. Hold on, wait, I just need to think about that. I'm not going to say who, but I will say who is a lot more likely, and that is Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc should win his first title before Verstappen, but if Red Bull and Honda work well, who knows? Right, I'm going to end on that question from Simon Cragland. That's a good one. Do you think Verstappen is a bigger talent than Hamilton and Schumacher was? Oh, that's a big one. That's a biggie. You know what? This might be controversial, but I'm going to say this. I think Max Verstappen has more talent than Lewis Hamilton. It's still close, but I think he has more talent. But I don't think he has as much as Michael. Might be controversial to say, but that's what I'm going with. I think Max Verstappen, talent-wise, once he gets to his absolute peak, and if he gets in a winning car, then, well, get ready for pure domination. That's all I'm going to say. Right, we'll move on from the Q&A, guys. And just before I go, let me update you guys as to the next 2 videos on this channel, so you guys know what's going on. Here they are, the next 2 videos. Tomorrow, me and Nib will be doing the Singapore Grand Prix podcast. We'll be going through the incidents and what happened, and also answering some of your guys' questions. By the way, if you're in the Discord, put in the podcast questions if you have any for the podcast. Try and put some questions in there, say in the next 3 hours, because we're going to be recording it tonight and uploading it tomorrow. So go ahead and do that if you want. And then on Thursday, I know a lot of you really enjoyed my Classic F1 Seasons 2012 Part 1 video. So Part 2 is coming out on Thursday, where we're going to be reviewing the 2012 Spanish Grand Prix, Monaco Grand Prix, Canadian and European Grand Prix. Those are the 4 races we're going to be covering, so that will be coming on Thursday. Also, another thing, I just want to let you guys know, from now on, every Sunday where there is not a race, and this goes for Christmas and New Year and all that, every Sunday, the time will vary, it's not always going to be at the same time, but if you guys seen my This Week in Formula 1 video, or the start of that series, basically it's the start or restarting of me doing news videos. That's a new series I'm doing. From now on a Sunday, that is going to be live, but only on a Sunday where there is no race. So, for example, this Sunday at 12:30 PM UK time, I'm going to be live with This Week in Formula 1, where we'll go through the news in This Week in Formula 1. That's the premise of the video, so hopefully you guys can join me for that. And on Saturday, there'll be another podcast going through 2021 and the concepts and some other things in the F1 world that are worthy of some talking points. So hopefully you guys can tune in for that. But that is it for the stream, guys. Don't forget to subscribe either on the bottom right of the screen, click on my channel name, or click on the link in the description that goes to my channel page. Don't forget to check out my Singapore Grand Prix race review, link below in the description. Like this video, comment down below what you thought of this video, and if you have any questions, put it in the comments and I will try to answer it as soon as I can, as soon as I see those questions. As well, don't forget to join my Discord server, link below in the description, and put a podcast question in there if you want it answered in the podcast coming out tomorrow evening as well. Follow me on Twitter. if you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing and when my videos are going to be coming out exactly, and check out my website so you can keep up to date with my channel. And until next time, guys, until tomorrow for the Singapore Grand Prix podcast and for the next live stream, which will be Sunday at 12:30 p.m, I will see all of you then.